coming to you live from Santo Poco. Wherever there are movies, you will find us. Wherever there is something to review, we'll be there. Wherever any semblance of coherence or quality is threatened, you will find the 10-Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and it looks like somebody's been down here with the ugly stick. Look at these two little sissies. First, a scum-sucking pig, it's Chris.
I can't remember the full thing.
Well, secondly, a son of a motherless goat, it's Andy.
Goats are back.
Goats are back. And I had a spoiler for the stats. I was looking everywhere, but I could not see a goat at any point. So I checked off the sons of motherless goats were our goats. We are the 10-Point Podcast. You can get us wherever you get your podcasts on every single podcast app available. And one particular podcast app, Spotify, in the last week has told us that we are officially 5 people's favourite podcast.
Yeah.
3 of them are talking in the show.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was saying to Andy before you joined us, Chris. It's not me, because when I do my rewatch of all the podcasts, I do the YouTube video versions for the pointies and all that. So I don't listen to my own podcast on Spotify. Therefore, one of the 5 is not me. So I don't know if it's you guys or not.
I'm like Johnny Depp. I don't listen to it.
Right. Okay.
I don't watch my own films.
Like Adam Driver, you don't listen. You don't watch anything back.
Yeah.
It's the sound of his own voice.
Exactly.
So hello to our 5 top fans. We want to hear from you, by the way.
5 fans, by the way, just so people are aware.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have many people who listen to us. Many might be an exaggeration. I don't know where many starts. I don't know if 2 is not many. So when does many start? But people listen to us. But we know for a fact 5 people like us because we listen to our podcast more than anybody else's.
Yeah. We should at least donate to Bell Ends.
Or at least let us know who you are and which state in America you watch us from or listen to us from, because Andy says that's where all our viewers are. So
52% of our viewers are from America. They love us over there.
Yeah, we're big in America, and we'll come over and do any tours if anyone wants to.
I know if he sends a message, you'll get a shout out.
Exactly. Yeah. The more we hear from you,
or as Bruce was saying, happily pay for our flights over, or come stay with you for a week.
We'll do a podcast in your living room for you.
Sponsor us, we'll do it, not a problem.
It's much digressing there, but whether you are one of the 5, which I think that might stick now, but one of the 5 podcast fans, or anybody else, you can find us on social media, 10-Point Podcast, on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know there. And we've got 10pointpodcast.com as well. You can send us a message over there. And Andy mentioned earlier, you can donate over there as well. Christmas is coming up. We could do some 10-Point Podcast present buying money, I guess. And for other things you want to donate for.
I want to create a 10-Point Christmas jumper. So, yeah, I want some money.
Yeah, okay. So that, along with all Christmas stockings and all that sort of stuff as well. Merch at some point. And you can find us on YouTube, like I mentioned, 10-Point Podcast over there as well. We can find video versions of most of the podcasts, depending on the week. Depending on how it goes. It's a bit random. Either way, we want to hear from you, and let us know what you want to see, what you like and what you don't like from the podcast. I think that's it for that. So what have we been watching in the last week? We had a brief chat before the podcast, and I think I'm the one person that's watched a film in the last week, but I'm not sure if that's true. Right, okay. Well, I'll leave with mine. I watched one film, and that was Hannibal, the early 2000s follow-up to The Silence of the Lambs. If you remember, I watched Silence of the Lambs a couple of weeks ago, so I watched Hannibal. I'd never actually seen Hannibal before. I was aware of the television show, and that seems to be more based on this than it was Silence of the Lambs, but Hannibal is a theme that keeps coming up a lot with me. There's a lot of extra stuff in the film Hannibal. It doesn't need to be there. There's backstories and other storylines in this film. I just want to know what Hannibal Lecter's up to and what who they're trying to catch and all that. But I didn't realize the film. Spoiler for a film that's about 20 years old. This was the one where he essentially eats Ray Liotta's, makes Ray Liotta eat his own brain and all that.
Yeah,
and
he
I've
went
not seen that.
on Hannibal the Cannibal.
He did, yeah, which is a great scene. There's about a 20-minute to 30-minute period in that film where it's just really, really good, but a lot of the rest is just a waste of time with the guy from the Daniel Craig James Bond films, the French fella that helps him out, just randomly has a storyline in Hannibal for no reason and all that. Yeah, it's a lot of extra stuff, but I enjoyed it. It's not the classic Silence of the Lambs is. Andy, what film did you watch in the last week?
Black Friday, starring Devon Sawa and Bruce Campbell.
That's right. Yeah, you sounded the Sawa alarm to me and Chris over the week.
One, it's a banger of a B film. It is a B film. But for a B film, it's got some of the best zombie special effects I've ever seen in a film. It's just one of them films. I can't even say anything about it. I'll spoil it. Go watch it.
He does
Someone
love the undead, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Devon Sawa.
Then also like Devin's, I've restarted. Oh, I've not restarted. I've started watching the Chucky series, which is basically the reboot of the films. Well, it's not even a reboot; it's right after the films. And Devon Sawa doesn't just play one character; he plays two characters. Thought of Devon Sawa week out of nowhere. It's like,
We
what the fuck?
definitely we relaunched his career. No one had heard of him until with Idle Hands, and then he's everywhere
Exactly.
since. So,
Idle Hand,
yeah.
then Casper, now he's in everything again. It's just his career's kicked off, and we're getting none of that money.
None of the credit, despite doing all
I
the
know.
work. What about you, Chris? What have you watched in the last week?
Other than the first 3 Hawkeye episodes, I haven't watched much.
Well, we'll talk about Hawkeye then. As I've mentioned, I've seen episodes 1 and 2. You're both an episode ahead of me. Yes. So,
Yes.
what do you think of Hawkeye so far? Was it being too spoilery on the last one?
I like it.
Um,
It's
yeah,
too
it's good.
for other Disney film series.
Yeah, it kind of fits in with the Winter Soldier kind of feel. Like it's not WandaVision and it's not whatever the other one was we had. What was the other TV show we had? Oh, Loki. It's very. This is like the movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like the two of them. I like our two Hawkeyes, or the current Hawkeye and potential Hawkeye. I like the two of them. I feel like everybody else is a bit meh around about them.
I did like the. You've seen the second one. I did like the explanation as to why he's got a hearing aid. I thought that was a nice little touch.
That's good. Yeah.
That's why he's deaf in the comics when he gets older. And I like how they're actually aging him quite a lot.
Yeah.
Fast.
Because I don't know when it's supposed to be set in relation, because like the timelines for them are all messed up to me. Well, I know the films are making the point of that anyway, but I don't know when we actually are in Marvel now. Like what year?
I think this is obviously after Endgame, just after.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what year it is because 4 years passed. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but
he's the star of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind the tracksuit mafia. I quite like them as a little kind of gang to be chasing after them as well.
It was when the episode was coming up. I was like, that's a lot of Polish and Russian names coming up here.
Andy mentioned this. I think it must have been last week. I think, but I had a big issue with the whole LARPing scene. It felt totally unnecessary. I know you're a massive Knights of Bad Astrum guy and you like all that sort of stuff, but it was literally. We need to fill 20 minutes or 15 minutes of this episode. Oh, let's just put Hawkeye into a LARPing situation for no other characters who have been in the episode so far or probably will return just for a costume. And it's like, it's just it dragged a bit. And I was like, just get back to the being Hawkeye bit. But
it was Hawkeye, some badass fighting.
Hardly. I tell you what, my favorite bit so far is definitely still Kate. When we first meet her, when she destroys the bell tower, I thought that was an amazing scene. Spoiler for the first scene of the series or whatever, but yeah, I'm undecided so far. It has ups and downs. Episodes 1.
I think all right.
It's going to kick it into gear in the next couple of episodes, I think.
Yeah,
surely. Do you know how long it is, like in terms of episode number?
I think 7 episodes. Either 6 or 7. That seems to be the Disney standard.
So yeah, hopefully it builds up some momentum soon, and surely there'll be some sort of introduction of other threads to other storylines, I would imagine, at some point. We better get on with the show then. On with the reason for the podcast this week. Point number 1 on the 10-point podcast. What is the point? The point this week is the 1986 comedy western Three Amigos. I think it's just 3. I don't know if it's the Three Amigos anywhere, but Three Amigos, sometimes with exclamation point at one end and then the upside down exclamation point at the other end, which I don't have in any keyboards, so I couldn't type it in anywhere. But Three Amigos, brought to us by Orion Pictures, that we have never done on the podcast before, but they did do Silence of the Lambs. Now, I'm sure we've done it before, but it's just because I'd watched Silence of the Lambs recently. But they've done other big films like Terminator, Robocop, and then the two 1990s Addams Family films Orion Pictures did. It said with help from Home Box Office on the production credits, which that is HBO, but they don't do much in the way of films, so I'm not sure what the tie-in necessarily was there. It also produced by Home Box Office. Yeah. And what finally becomes LA Films, which is Steve Martin's production company, also produced the film. Directed by John Landis. Now he's a big name director of such things as Schlock, which was his big first thing he directed, but then Animal House, Blues Brothers, American Werewolf in London, Trading Places, then did Three Amigos, afterwards Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop 3, and then Blues Brothers 2000. So you could say most of his good stuff came before Three Amigos. But yeah, he definitely had a period of time where he was the director doing the cult films of the time. Three Amigos written by 3 writing credits on this film. I'll leave the first one till last, if that makes any sense. So we had Lorne Michaels, who most famously is the chief executive producer in charge of Saturday Night Live, which is how he essentially knows everybody is in the film. This is the only feature film writing credit he has ever had, and he has 270-something production credits on his CV. But in terms of a feature film that he wrote, this is the only one that he had. And then also writing this film is Randy Newman, who's a singer-songwriter that you may most probably know from being the guy who does the Toy Story songs. So You've Got a Friend in Me and all that. This is the only feature film writing credit he has as well, despite being on 200 plus soundtracks across his career. So I don't know why specifically the Three Amigos, they get these guys all together to write it. But I'm assuming the main writer of the film is Steve Martin, who also stars in it. So he's wrote a lot of what he is in, but a mixture of writing and acting credits has The Jerk, The Man with Two Brains, then The Three Amigos, and then A Little Shop of Horrors, Roxanne, Planes, Trains and Automobiles, Parenthood, LA Story, and then the Pink Panther reboot of the 2000s.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But he had a run from essentially about 1986 to about 1992, where again Steve Martin was the comedy actor in Hollywood, where everything, he was the biggest guy, and he was hosting the Oscars and all that sort of stuff. And then he very famously just had a terrible 1990s where nothing worked for him, and he just disappeared, and then he barely acted for a while.
Do you remember does banger?
Too bad it doesn't. It existed, certainly. Yes, he had big films that weren't often necessarily great, well-reviewed films. Co-stars with Steve Martin, Chevy Chase from Caddyshack, National Lampoon's Vacation, Three Amigos, Spies Like Us, and recently Community. He was in most of that, if not all of it. I think, were you watching that, Chris?
I watched it. He was a bit hit or miss.
It did
he
seem
was
that way.
like a couple of episodes. He was really funny. Then he would just plummet.
Yeah. Which is pretty much his career in a nutshell. It sums him up. And our third star of the Three Amigos, Martin Short. This is his feature film breakout, was in Three Amigos here. Films he made afterwards were Inner Space. He was in Mars Attacks, that I just seem to mention every time it comes up, but he was one of the first 5 people credited as being in Mars Attacks. The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. I don't think it was any of the other ones, because that specifically was the one that he was in.
Yep.
Frankenweenie and Inherent Vice. But the kind of the news is that as we speak, it's new on Disney Plus, is Steve Martin and Martin Short are both in a TV show called Only Murders in the Building, a TV series that's on.
Chantel loves it. The best shite.
That's the doom of Reunited for that. But all three of them are Saturday Night Live people with Lorne Michaels, so they're all comedies of the comedians of the 80s, I should say. Three Amigos, on a budget of $25 million, opened in the US for $6 million. Its final US gross, $39 million, turning a profit. Worldwide gross, I do not know, because the only number I have was the US gross again. But it did in fact come out in cinemas around the world. But so it definitely made a profit on like gross to budget, but I don't know in terms of promotion, it might have struggled to break even. It did not get brilliantly reviewed upon release either, so I think that all might have added up. It was released the 12th of December, 1986, which seems like a strange time of year to bring this film out. But it's also, we're almost bang on for the 25-year anniversary. 25-year, what am I talking about? 35-year anniversary of this film. Is that right? Yeah, 35-year anniversary of this film. Almost to the day of this film. So to celebrate that, the awards, none whatsoever. I can't find any mention.
A birthday cake.
Of the Three Amigos. It doesn't seem to be nominated for anything. It doesn't seem to have nominated for bad things. Its DVD release didn't get nominated. Nobody acted really good that year, so therefore this film gets nothing. There is absolutely no mention of the Three Amigos when it comes to any sort of awards.
That would be a banger theme. That should be your theme next season.
Yeah. Films that don't get mentioned. Yeah. Tough one. But just for the record, 1987 looked like this. 1987 Oscar Best Picture was Platoon. 1987 Razzie Worst Picture was a tie between Under the Cherry Moon and Howard the Duck.
Oh, come on.
But the 1987 Saturn Awards, this is going to be very familiar to some of you, was dominated by the film Aliens, which we did that last week. So literally, this season has been very much the late 80s in a sense. So yeah, that's it for the awards. I don't have much else to add on the Three Amigos other than that. So, Synopsis, brought to us by Julian, a first-time contributor, I believe. And also the longest synopsis I could find by about 4 sentences. Everything else is about 2. It goes as such. When silent film stars Lucky Day, Dusty Bottoms, and Ned Nederlander get fired, they take a job offer from Mexico, doing a show with El Guapo, supposedly the most famous actor there. Traveling there in hope of getting good money, they arrive only to learn soon that El Guapo was not an actor, but a cruel gang leader suppressing people. He abducts the mayor's beautiful daughter Carmen to be his wife, in revenge for the people's cry for help. Now all hopes of the village folks rest on the weak shoulders of 3 minor talented actors who can't just walk off the set this time. There we go. I see what was going for there. He didn't say the thing in that. Julian, a poor review of your synopsis personally from me.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did we find out the guy was the mayor? I just thought it was some random guy.
That might be true. Like, I can't argue with what he said, but at no point was that she was the daughter of the mayor. I may have missed that. And I like the specific Carmen to be his wife.
Making up his own film.
Yeah, reading between the lines on this one. Yeah, it was my selection. I picked it because it fit my theme of trios in trouble. This was the one I immediately thought this will give away what my theme is, so I'll leave it till last, and because it's literally called the Three Amigos. I have definitely seen this before because it is one of my, 8 VHS collection I've had since I was about 5 years old. So I watched this about 100 times when I was younger. So there's parts of this I know very, very well. Had both of you guys seen this before or not?
Yeah, but this is probably the longest film I've not seen in ages. It's probably 20 odd years ago.
I've never seen it, I don't think.
You think never seen
any of it?
Yeah, I think you said last week that you believe you've never seen it before, Chris. I watched the DVD version. This is the kind of film where I invested. When I say invested, I went to the CEX shop and spent $2.50 on it at some point. So I had the DVD version of it. But which channel would we have watched this on? I don't know if anyone's got a guess.
I'd say ITV.
Could be an
That's
ITV.
what I was thinking, ITV.
Yeah, maybe an ITV kind of afternoon slot again because it's a PG.
Yeah,
so
definitely Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's definitely viewable on TV. I probably have seen it on TV as well as having owned both VHS and DVD of this film. Okay, on to point 2 on the podcast. Oh, that was point number 1. So point 2, the high points. What we thought the best bits and parts of the film were. Normally I'd pass it over, but my first one is the beginning. Like the first thing we see is a musical number of them riding their horses, introducing themselves.
I've got that high note at the start.
It's a catchy little song. It's a bit of an introduction to who they are, but then when they go for ages, amigos, it's like, okay, this is definitely a high point. We're off to, and then the credits roll on a bit longer than they need to. But yeah, my first high point is definitely the beginning.
Was it actually them singing?
Sounded like it.
Yeah.
There was the fireside one with all the animals. It didn't sound so much like Chevy Chase. But then when Steve Martin started singing, I was like, that's definitely Steve Martin that's singing. And we know from experience that he can sing because we've had him on Little Shop of Horrors singing before. So yeah, I think it was them. I found nothing to say otherwise that it wasn't them. I didn't go deep into my trivia on this one, I'll say that much. But yeah, who got any other high points from the early going?
I'm pretty much out.
I'll go. The male playing balls joke. I thought it was fucking hilarious. Not even the joke, but it's the way Ned was just pissed himself laughing.
I mean, I was laughing at the joke as well. I don't know. The thing that was probably the hardest I laughed during the watching of the film, to the point that I've got it nominated for best line later on. I think it's a male plane. How can you tell? Did you notice his little balls? And it's so not funny or weird that it just absolutely cracked me up to the point where I was crying laughing.
It was just him absolutely wetting himself, just like.
Yeah. So for some reason
that
was my sense of humour at that exact moment. It just absolutely cracked me up. I don't know why it was so funny. Early high points for me. A lot of my high points are early, which is definitely something I'm going to get into as we speak here. But then getting the boot where they're like the power play where the guy says, what do you do? We want to do this picture and what do that? And then he just goes, that'll be the day. And he goes, sorry, what? And he goes, that'll be the day. And then the phone calls where the amigos are out of the mansion. Take the amigos' clothes and all that. So I like that scene. But then that goes into, I think my favourite and certainly my most memorable bit of the entire film that has lived with me in the 30 plus years that I've watched this film. It's them. sneaking back in again with Steve Martin on the wall.
Yeah.
And his deterioration from just going, ooh, ooh, and just whistling. So by the end, he's going, look up, hey, and all that. You too, you too. And then the final reveal that they're about, I don't know, 6 feet underneath where he is to me, that's the reason this film was made, I think, for that scene, as far as I'm concerned. And the film peaked there, I think.
I do have an actual high point. I do actually like the overall story of this film. I'll get to it in like low points, like because there's a lot of flaws with it. But the actual how it's like they're silent movie actors, but then they're doing all this kind of other quirky stuff. Because I do like the silent film at the start; it's brilliant.
Yeah, the film's actually quite good. Yeah,
holding the signs up, and it's like you can see what they're saying when they're like the stupid makeup and stuff. All that. Like, it's just it's whole perfect. But then it's just like the actual overall story, how they actually misinterpret it, like the telegram and stuff like that. It's a brilliant setup for a story.
It's a brilliant premise, would be the word. That's what I'm saying. The premise of a movie is you can see why they've made this. Like, I've got a great idea.
Yeah, it's absolutely like this is going to be amazing.
Yeah,
that was the high point.
I like the misunderstanding behind you, Bruce, as well. Like the guy comes, I've got men coming in, and then they're worse than me, so treat them well.
Yeah, and then immediately straight away.
Yeah.
I've just called it the cantina, and what I think is that's probably the prolonged best scene. Like the best bit is him on the wall, but in terms of a scene, to go from the German guy coming in being all scary and intimidating, and they're all like, "Ooh," and then my friends are coming in, and you know immediately what's going to happen. It's like, oh god, and they swan in with their outfits on, and everyone's immediately on like scared, walking on eggshells around about them. And then the first thing is like,
you guys walk into a pub, right?
Yeah, it's we're looking for the hotel, and then there's no hotel. I could kill somebody. And all these guys all gasp. But the bartender, dude, is amazing throughout. I think he plays the whole thing amazingly. He's got a really funny name, the actor as well. It's like Fred Asparagus or something like that. Is his name?
I remember reading that.
Asparagus.
Fred Asparagus is the actor's name. Who plays the bartender. So I'm assuming he's a comedian, but he plays it really, really well. And then we finish with the My Little Buttercup number, where everybody else is still terrified in the bar, and then shouting the lines at them and all that is amazing. But yeah, I like watching the whole thing with a grin on my face. Was the cantina stuff was amazing, and that's the last of my early high points. The rest are kind of later on.
I've only got one more high point, so I'm going to take it before somebody else steals it. It's when they first like meet El Guapo, or whatever he's called, El Chapo.
El Guapo, yeah.
Yeah, like that whole scene. It's like they're still thinking, and it's just like a scene.
Yeah.
And it's just slow realization, like Steve Martin going, "Wait there." That whole bit is brilliant.
Give me your gun.
I quite liked the little gang as well, because they were just kind of like, they weren't a serious gang. The guy was just like, okay, take my gun.
Yeah.
I like this guy. Let's kill him.
Yeah. Tell us we'll die like dogs. You will die like dogs. That sort of stuff's funny. Giving him lines as well. But yeah, I think the film, it definitely, it's at its best when they don't know what's going, like they're in the situation and they're not aware of it. Once it turns into just an actual Western, then it kind of loses a little bit, I think. But yeah, the film, as long as it maintains they don't know what they're doing, it's great, I think.
That morning of that scene is when Ned wakes up and he's got this really deep voice. I wasn't expecting that. I fucking wept. I was laughing at it.
Ned's hangover voice.
Yeah. I'll go for my next one. It's like the Invisible Swordsman. When they were like shooting up the air going neep 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 or blah blah blah, and then what's it called, Dusty just goes blah 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 bang, and they yelp. I was like, I thought that was brilliant. Like the thud of the, I don't know what it was, like great CGI.
Yeah, it's probably the most special effects in the film. I kept looking for bits that might be special effects and all that, but yeah, that's the only thing I could think that would be.
I was kind of like sitting there watching, going, okay, this is getting a bit fucking crazy now.
Yeah.
And then the yelp, I was like, wait, what? There's actually the visible guy there. So, where did they get the notes from, by the way? Is that the bar?
with they finally decide we're going to go and we're going to get Carmen, so they take off at the desert, and the next scene's to them at the fireplace, and then Dusty goes, "How long do you think we travel before we went back for direction?" So it's an unseen scene where they have decided, "Oh, we're going to get El Guapo. We've no idea where he is." And it was like 3 or 4 miles or something like that. They said they went before they realised they didn't know where they were going. They're so full of adrenaline. So yeah, they must have gone back to the Santo Poco to get directions. But yeah, it seems pretty weird that the people of Santo Poco know exactly how to get to El Guapo's, which is go find a singing bush that'll then summon the swordsman. These are the special, and then he'll take you. The invisible swordsman will take you where you're going. When they could say, "Oh, we've been there before because this invisible guy took us there. It's this way." But
I also that bush. I thought that was Betty White singing.
It was actually Randy Newman, one of the writers, the guy who sings in Toy Story. He was singing Bush. But
I genuinely thought it was Betty White, and I was like,
it does sound like a woman. My next high point is a very small one, which is Steve Martin's lassoing. That was actually him. There was no stunt doubling. And my trivia note says that he learned that when he was young. He worked at Disneyland when he was a teenager. I don't know which character he played. A cowboy, I guess. He learned how to lasso. So all of the Steve Martin lassoing tricks is actually him doing it himself. And again, he wrote the film, so I'm assuming he put it in for a reason. Any other high points?
I've got a little one. The Axl Rose dance by El Guapo.
He's got some moves, does El Guapo?
I'll tell you, like the next two that actually proper buckled me was when Dusty creates a distraction and hits a guy with the rock, and then the dummy just goes flap right in front of them.
Right down where they are, yeah.
And then the next one is when Ned, it's just after this, is stuck to the pinata. And then it goes, a guy's just falling out the sky, and he goes flap, and the dummy just kind of crumples.
Yeah.
I love a good ragdoll effect. It cracks me up every time.
They were much better than the dummies on the plane at the end, which were quite really just mannequins that just nailed onto the side of the plane. Look bad. A similar trend to your ones is Paco will hold up your hat. I really like that scene where he gets his guy to, and he's like, higher, and he just shoots him dead anyway. And he doesn't even blink. He just puts his gun away. He's like, that's what I wanted to happen. I thought that was a great one. And I only have one more high point after that, which I think we're about that sort of time in the film. I enjoyed Steve Martin in the cell, Lucky trying to escape when he's tied to the wall, frequently making more and more progress the whole time. Was really funny. And again, good physical kind of comedy like that always makes me laugh, and I think he did it really, really well.
I've got two little ones. I like the little therapy session that Hefe and El Guapo had with what is a plethora?
Yeah.
And then he goes, why are you angry at me? Is it because she's not sleeping with you?
Yeah. Is it because you're maybe turning 40?
This little therapy session.
I think Hefe is really good in this. This viewing, he never was a memorable character to me, but I really enjoyed him throughout. And the fact that he looks identical to Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean. I just kept seeing Jack Sparrow every time I saw him as well. But yeah, I thought Hefe underrated performance in this. And that's me for high points. I have no others.
My final one is just Ned's duel when he shoots a gun. When he is actually really fast, and then he goes straight back.
Yeah.
There's a theme. Like my best part of this film was Ned.
Good, I'm glad, because I think mine's Steve Martin. I think was yours Chevy Chase, Andy?
I did like Lucky Day.
Like a Lucky Day. So there we go. Right, on to low points. So what we thought the worst things and low points essentially of the film were. Anyone want to start? I feel like Andy, you've said one so far.
Very quiet.
Right, but the problem is, like you said, up until they find out, the story just then literally dies. Like there was a glimpse of it. Like, why is there a Nazi? Like I was like,
yeah.
And it's like I never really picked up on this. I watched this when I was a kid, so I never really noticed it. But it's like, one, why is there a Nazi? And two, you find out there's basically just a Nazi, so they can put an old World War II plane or one plane or whatever the hell it was. I don't know my history. It's one of them.
It was 1920s. This was set, so yeah, it's kind of between the wars, really, post World War I, I guess.
Yeah, like.
After that, just shit.
Yeah, when they go on the hunt for El Guapo, it just gets a bit batshit crazy with like talking animals. And that's fucking bush.
That's my first major low point is the fireside animal sing along to just kill 10 minutes.
Was that just because it ate bat and went like loopy, or just because?
Now you brought it up, right? This film automatically gets like 1 point less because of the whole. It's a bit you can't really eat bats anymore because
Yeah.
Oh, right. I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah.
so when I was watching, I was like, that's a point off. And then as the scene goes on a little bit longer, and it's like you see them like eating the wings, and it's like that's gonna be 2 points off now because every time I see somebody eating a bat now, it's a 2 point off film.
The
Rule I have now.
the bit I was cringing at in terms of recent events was, of course, Steve Martin thinking he's on the set of a film and being shot with a real bullet, and I'm like, okay, right.
As well, I didn't thought of that, but it's like,
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that.
that didn't annoy me as much as eating a bat.
But no, the animals sing along. Like the song's quite good, and it feels like, oh, we've got a great song and we can all sing it. Like I say, it does sound like Steve Martin. It might be Martin Short singing as well. It's like, oh, we've got this song. We could maybe make a musical number out of it, and we could sell the song, and it could be in the charts. Feels like the only reason it was there. I have still no idea why random animals were coming and hanging out, or why the daughters spoke at the end. But it's just this weird comedy. But that seems like an extra level of wacky weirdness compared to all the rest. Really.
But it's like the comedy that works is it's like all the kind of practical comedy things. Is like even like getting off his horse and he goes on to the other
horse. Yeah.
It's like that kind of comedy works, and it's like I always kind of think of this film as like Shanghai Noon, like Jackie Chan and Steve
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, that's the one. Yeah, it's kind of like that. They do the practical effects, but it's not meant to be a funny film, but it's just funny in general. Whereas this one it's funny when they actually do it, but then they go over the top with singing bushes, invisible people, and Nazis.
The singing bush didn't quite land to me. When I was a kid, I used to love the singing bush. Like, it made me cry laughing when I was a kid. This bush waving around singing its song, and the fact that it never stopped, it just kept singing. I loved that. But I felt like it was this weird kind of bizarreness that straight after the campfire as well.
I thought it was just somebody hiding in the bush singing, and then after you don't see it, then you see the invisible person. I was like, okay, there is an invisible person. Things are getting a bit weird now after the talking animals.
Yeah, and then that's it. It's never weird again. It's back to being a western, and that's where my final problem is. Literally, the last half hour, it's just a western. Like, they take most of the comedy out of it, and it's pure. These are the good guys coming in to save the girl and save the day. And the town people all come together, and then we win in the end. It's like most of the comedy. There's maybe 5 or 6 funny lines, as it were. But yeah, it's just the last half hour is just it's a kind of substandard western for the end of it, and I'm like, I was quite enjoying the silliness, like the silliness, not the craziness.
yeah. But they did make a lot of them costumes really fast.
Well, that's what they were good at. They said they were good at sewing.
So if it wasn't for the fact that their costumes didn't look the same,
yeah,
you can see it was like the three of them constantly running in bits because their jackets are so elaborate.
Yeah. Well, it's going to come up in our next points, the costumes and what I had a problem with about the costumes at that point. But we'll, yes, I have to agree. Any other low points? I feel like Chris has not said many.
It's more of a question. Like, when did they start their guns have real bullets? Because I thought they were fake, and all of a sudden they start shooting people.
Yeah, I thought that as well. There was one point where I was sure Dusty had fake bullets in his gun, and it was the real bullet all of a sudden. So yeah, and also kind of like a prop gun, can you put real bullets into it? I know obviously what's happened recently, but that might not necessarily be.
I think it is, and that's the point, yeah.
Right, cool.
Because like even a fake bullet is the same, but only doesn't have the tips. It just makes the banging noise.
This goes bang. Right, yeah. But yeah, I did wonder about that. And also, I felt like they were really poorly handicapping Ned when they changed his actual gun, like his gun, to this massive thing. That was a bit unfair, I thought, for Ned and his duel. He won it.
Did it though? Man's got a game.
Yeah, I feel like the Germans. The actual German guys, his plot thread throughout the film is a bit weird, where he arrives in a bar to be like, tell my friends this? Which was it wait? I can't remember what the message was to his German friends. And then the Amigos go in and then come out, and when they come out, the German guys actually go into the bar. But then the other German guys fly in the plane, because that's when we get the mail plane joke. So where's he going in that plane? Because later on, the plane flies over again, and then El Guapo's like, "Oh, our German guest has come." So it's just been circling in this plane for ages. And sometimes the German guys know where they're going, and they have all the guns and all that. And then immediately upon them getting to where they're going, Ned kills one of them in the duel, and I don't ever really see what happens to the other two. But yeah, the German story is a bit strange in this film. I don't know.
Unnecessary. The kids got guns from anywhere.
Exactly.
And I don't remember that story like at all. It was like a new story when I rewatched this one.
Yeah, there's definitely but 20-minute blanks here and there that I've got of how to remember bits of the story. I remember all. Is that S for low points?
That's me.
Okay, on to the stats. 0.4. Shits, only one, I think, which was when El Guapo threatened that they were going to cut open their bellies and squeeze the shit out of them or something like that. I think it was. He did it once, and it was very clear that it was El Guapo swearing. F-bombs, none. No other swearing really whatsoever. Explosions, 3. That was when they were throwing the dynamite into the Santo Poco buildings, which I now realise they blew up Santo Poco, and then it was just back to being normal again when they were blowing all the hospitals. But again, we'll leave that be. It's a PG comedy movie. How many deaths do you think there were in this film?
I'm going to say 6.
There were 73 by my count.
Jesus.
Because the amount of bodies that are lying around in the end of Santo Poco is massive. There's loads, there's 50 of the bad guys, and then throughout, every time there's like a gunfight, people are getting killed, people are falling off high things and all that. So yeah, I think 73 deaths, and that's not including the 4 that were in the silent movie in the movie. So there actually could be 77 in total. Dead animal. I didn't see one. I can't remember there being a dead animal specifically. Bats. 8 bats. There we go. Corrected immediately. That's why you guys are good at this as well. Although I feel like if this film was made nowadays, there's no way you get the 3 main actors riding on the same horse at any point. That was immediately something I was like, okay, that's a 1980s thing. Cows, none, and goats, none. Although there are, like I said earlier, many sons of motherless goats. No peeing anywhere. I thought we'd get somebody having a pee somewhere hilarious. I thought one of the kind of the bad guy kind of gang would be doing it somewhere, but no. And no sign of the paedophile, the devil, and the KKK. I think that's 3 in a row that we've managed. Life's 3 main villains, none of which showed up. There were 4 Amigos salutes in the film. That's
that's the one thing I counted.
There were 4 of those.
I was going to count how many times they said Amigos, but they said like 15 times in the first 5 minutes, so I stopped that.
I was going to do El Guapos as well, but I thought, nah, I can't do that. But what I did do then, I thought, right, here's a better idea. I remember what the final plan is. So what I'm going to count is, I'm going to count Amigos, because then I know there's 3 of them for like an hour and a half, and then the big plan, and I could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, Ricky. However, the whole town appears on screen at various points. So I think I'm at something like 73 Amigos. I think in the end, there's a lot of Amigos. So I think there's. Now I've realised that I think that's the same number of deaths as there are Amigos in this film. But yes, there's. Yeah, there's a lot. And then my final thing: did they say the thing? Did they say 3 Amigos?
I'm going to say 40 times.
They said it 16 times. Plus 1 time in a silent movie where you can see them saying the 3 Amigos, and then the words come up on screen. The first one was under the first minute, which is them singing the song. They say 3 Amigos, I think 3 times in the song, 3 Amigos. Chris, any other stats, or was that the only thing that you
Like I said, I was going to count Amigos, but they kept saying like 3 Amigos repeatedly in the song, and then after that they kept calling people Amigos, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be here for ages, so I stopped and counted salutes. I thought there'd be more salutes.
I thought so as well, but yeah, only 4. And Andy, did you find a most pornographic scene?
Right, well, bear with me on this one. This takes a little bit of explaining. The blowing up of the church. It's like blowing up organized religion. It was just a symbolic pornographic scene.
Oh, God's sake. Right. Okay. I thought the trigger warning was later, Andy.
I've got easy for that later, don't you worry.
Oh God, right, okay, we better get on. I'd say we should probably delay and wait as long as possible before getting there, but we have to move on. Point 5 on the 10-point podcast is the 10-point podcast quiz.
Jesus.
This is going to be a good one. Right. Let's have Chris go first, I think. I don't know why, but I think we'll have Chris go first. So Chris, your first question. How much does Carmen offer the Amigos as a reward to come and save Santo Poco?
100,000 pesos.
100,000 pesos is correct. Andy, your first question.
10 pesos.
You're going to struggle here, I think. Who is, or can you name me, and who is the head of the Amigos movie studio?
Harvey Weinstein.
I mean, it's not far off.
Is it like Flugelham or something like that?
Harry Flugelman is the head of the movie studio. Goldsmith Pictures. Okay, Chris, next question. My little buttercup has the sweetest...
Smile.
Correct. And Andy. Dear little buttercup, won't you stay a
While.
while? That's also correct. Very good. The rest of the quiz is not a song.
Good.
Chris, can you name me something that the Amigos intended to do with their share of the money? Obviously, then to give it back. But what was their intention? They each had something they wanted to do with it. Can you name me any of the three?
Ned wanted to start up a foundation for children.
You're missing a keyword that I need if you're going to go with that as your answer.
Needy children. Homeless children.
Homeless children, correct. That is the right answer. I needed the homeless. It was a big shiny car, which is what Steve Martin's character wanted. Dusty, be a big shot for a while in New York and Paris with champagne and parties. And then Ned was start a foundation, and the two also jumped on board with the foundation idea. Andy, let's see. At the Amigos party or celebration for them saving the day, where does the girl want Dusty to kiss her?
Her beaver.
Incorrect.
Veranda.
On the veranda. And then Dusty says, I was thinking about on the mouth or on the lips, whichever one he says. So unfortunately, wrong answer. I think that means Chris wins the quiz, but we'll clear up the rest of the questions. I've already spoiled this. Chris, what was El Guapo's birthday he was celebrating?
His 40th, but it got changed to his 33rd again.
I would give you a bonus point if I could, but I can't. But yes, that is correct. And the final question, Andy, which one of their films inspires the Amigos' final plan? They're, remember we did this in... What was the title of their film?
Three Amigos 2.
Almost. You had one of the words right. It was the plan from Amigos, Amigos, Amigos is what they executed at the end of the film.
I never have got that.
No. So there we go. Chris wins the quiz quite handsomely. I probably gave you the easy question that time, Chris. That wasn't intentional. So another success for Chris on the quiz. Point 6 on the 10-point podcast. Movies within movies. What all our different things we keep track of every week. So in terms of parodies and references, I had to do a bit of deep diving here. So the main kind of twist on the plot is the Seven Samurai. So the Seven Samurai is like obviously a classic
basis of every film, Star Wars thing.
Exactly, yeah. So in that film, a town needs defense from the bad guys, so they hire some retired sword fighters. So the twist is obviously they're not retired sword fighters; they are what they are. So the premise becomes they're actors that don't know they're not acting in the plot of a film anymore, which is literally what Galaxy Quest and Tropic Thunder both are as well. Like they took this premise from this film and made their own one as well. So I had to mention the two of them. Obviously, it references and parodies many westerns. We've got Magnificent Seven, One-Eyed Jacks, and The Wild Bunch seem to be the main ones that it parodies in various reasons. Singing in the Rain, that's kind of the premise of the actors turning on the studio and falling out with the people in charge of their lives like it was back in that day. So Singing in the Rain. And the last one I've got is just Indiana Jones, because I feel like the German character is just in there because Raiders of the Lost Ark would only be out maybe a couple of years at this point. So that was what was trendy. So they stuck in this German guy or the German storyline. And other than that, it's I guess musicals and westerns and everything, the kind of the genres more than specific parodies. And I've got Never Not Good is definitely a comedic figure unknowingly they're in a life or death situation is never not good. As literally this Galaxy Quest Tropic Thunder is always funny in all those films. When
mine's just ragdolls, just flopping down.
Yeah. Very good. Chris, what have you got for movies or movies?
As for people being in the same other movies, I've only got two, I think. Steve Martin was in Little Shop of Horrors. He was a weird dentist, and Chevy Chase was in Vacation, and he was actually himself in Last Action Hero.
Last Action Hero again comes up.
You missed one.
Oh, I missed it too.
It's the dude. It's one of the German bad henchmen.
Uh-huh.
He is Shao Kahn at the very, very end of Mortal Kombat as the big holographic figure, and then he's actually Shao Kahn in the second one.
Oh, that's really? Not actually him though, because I looked at that and it wasn't him. He was in the second film.
It's him, Shao Kahn.
I mean, it didn't show up in my searches because I checked all the German characters, but
yeah,
right, Fanny says it is. But yeah, I put it this way: I did not go down all the townsfolk this week, Chris, because I assumed I jumped to the conclusion that I probably haven't seen them in anything else.
Well, I did. I went through a lot of them because I thought you'd find somebody.
I didn't. I looked essentially. I went for the ones that it might be, but yeah, I don't know. And have you recast us into the film?
It was fairly obvious. It's all because of that one invisible man scene. Pretty much, it sums us up perfectly. Like, I see Bruce is lucky, myself as Ned, following the rules, doing what we're told, and then Andy, the wild card, just lives by his own rules and just does what he wants.
I think it's the most clear-cut recasting of us in the film ever, because I've got exactly the same. It wasn't exactly my thinking when I picked it, but when I started thinking about that, I was like, oh yeah.
There was another scene that was just Andy down to a T. Oh, it was when they were going through the desert and he's just drinking all the water and he's like, oh, spit it out. Fuck, it's too much. And it just chucks the rest of it away.
Yeah, I was like, exactly as I was thinking that. I was like, this is definitely it. Because, yeah, I'd have run out, because I drink water the whole way through every podcast and I always run out like I have done. Chris would get the worst luck, because that's what always happens.
I drink beer and it makes you drier, so.
Yeah, yeah, Andy would have everything and not give it to us, yeah. But, yeah, we love you really, Andy. No offence meant. And Andy, have you recast anybody in the film?
I'm going to actually recast the Three Amigos with, like, current Hollywood stars. I've not done it.
A reboot.
A reboot. So, Steve Martin, he comes out, and you put The Rock in.
Right.
I can guess the three.
Yeah, okay, right. We'll move on.
Reynolds in.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And then Martin Short comes out, and then you put Danny DeVito in.
Oh, you were going to see Kevin Hart until it was too obvious.
Yeah.
Although Danny DeVito would be a good one.
I'd probably prefer the Danny DeVito option, actually, now I think about it.
Yeah. I would actually recast. That'd be a plan.
I mean, I would not at all be surprised if Netflix came out with that like next year. Right? It would not shock me at all. Anyway, on to point 7. Andy's trigger warning. He's already warned us, so another warning for Andy's trigger warning. Andy, what have you got?
All right, this one actually requires a prop.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
right.
Martin.
So there's nothing worse, right? It's not even to do with the film. I just got so annoyed by it earlier on before the podcast, so that's my tenuous link. Pringles. Okay. They're nicely, neatly stacked. It's even got like nice little things, like arrows, and like they're stacked. However, when you get to about this stage, it goes to shit.
Yep, always.
Like, they just go to absolute hell. So, what the fuck? It really got the hell out of me. And it's like, yeah, you're just eating your Pringles, they're fine. And then suddenly, when you have to do that first tip, they just all go back into like, here you go, you're fucked. And it annoyed me so much. I actually forgot what my actual trigger warning was. I thought, I'm trying to look up the podcast. Angry.
Yeah, without fail, the last ones. And what I found recently is, this is just random. We should start a different podcast for this, but the distribution of flavouring on Pringles now just seems to be random. You'll get some that are essentially plain in a non-plain pack, and then you get some where it's like, with the barbecue one specifically, they're like purple. It's like you can't eat it because it's that flavour.
And then, let's do this for the woke culture, right? These are not even recyclable. Like, that blew my mind. Because you've got plastic there, then you've got your little foil bit, which is not recyclable some places. The cardboard is, but then you've got a metal bottom. It's like, make your fucking mind up. You've got like all the different parts there of just being a fucking environmental nightmare.
No, it's funny you should say that. The shop's just got like a big massive Pringle bin because Sean goes through that many Pringles.
It's just like he's crisp. I just recycling. Fuck it. And then, while I'm on the subject of recycling, I've just found out that like about 90% of recycling that you do doesn't actually get recycled because some bellend will put like nappies or something in it, so they just void the whole thing.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Yeah.
It's like, well, what's the fucking point? It's like coronavirus. What's the fucking point? Just carry on.
There's always going to be a next variant, I think, with the coronavirus.
Yeah, there you go. I've got that off my chest. Nothing.
The single most random trigger warning we've had.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting something.
I was not. Right, cracking on. Point 8. Our nominations for the 10 Point Podcast Awards. I normally say at the end of the season, but we've voted that it's going to be our kickoff to next year. It's actually going to be our birthday episode next year, because the 10 Point Podcast was born in January 2 years ago, I think. So
we're going to have smashed
from a shot.
For our anniversary. Will be in January before we launch season 5. We'll get the season 4 10 Point Podcast Awards, so that you've all have a chance to re-listen to every episode beforehand and get your ideas of who should win things. And you can send your ballots in. Contact us still, because the panel has not done any of his reviewing yet. So you could let us know. Yes, my Christmas is going to be listening to our podcast. Does anyone want to go first? Does anyone want to wait till the end? You want to what?
I'm just nominating Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. Okay. Best actor.
It's hard because he's pretty good, but like I feel like I need to nail him down to something. But yeah, best actor.
Yeah. I think best acting, The Amigos. I think that's been kind to Chevy Chase, but yeah, Steve Martin. But Martin Short is really good at it.
I think best performance is Martin Short because he wasn't the best actor, but he was the one that was put a lot of effort in.
Just call it in. He was just there.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do it. Okay. Where Steve Martin, he seemed like he was up for doing shit.
You can tell I don't know if it's a passion project as such, but you can tell like I've written this and it plays to my strengths. It's going to be good, and I get to be the hero.
It's just like, oh fucking hell, I've been drafted into this bullshit.
I imagine it's bloody roasting wherever they're filming it. Like it's probably out in the desert near like LA somewhere, so it probably wasn't the nicest conditions to be living in. Any other nominations, Andy?
Aye. Best stunts. Any of the horse stuff and like this, like the random falling off and it's like it felt like when you go to like Disneyland or that, you watch these live action shows.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. And I love it.
Yeah, no CGI, not an ounce of CGI, and everyone's actually doing everything. It's great.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And then like even like practical effects, like blowing like churches and shit up. It's like they look pretty good. But then they magically got rebuilt within 24 hours. But
it just dawned on me now. And then, as Chris mentioned, the Invisible Swordsman, whatever they did to make it look like he's lying.
Brilliant. That blew my mind. They just seen that. And you see Martin Short pick up his hand and drop it, and more dust go. It was great. I don't know. That's my best effect.
Best special effect is Swordsman.
Swordman. Yeah. And most unexpected, what's his name? John Lovitz.
John Lovitz. Okay.
Yeah, didn't see him coming out. No, he just randomly one scene and actually did nothing in it.
Yeah. Any others? Like you?
It was low.
I'll piggyback on Andy's, and I'll go. Most unexpected was Phil Hartman, who was the guy with the phone in that scene, because he's Simpsons. He does like Lionel Hutz. He does Troy McClure, and he's like barely in any films, obviously, because he died very young. And so
I didn't realize he died. I thought he just stopped doing stuff.
No. I think there's very strange circumstances surrounding his death that I'll not try and get into now. I believe, but yeah, he was like a proper important guy on The Simpsons when he died. So yeah, he's not in many films because that wasn't necessarily what he did. So him to be in again one scene, and then Joe Mantegna, who's Fat Tony from The Simpsons, is Harry Flugelman. So it's brilliant having them. But yeah, I don't expect Phil Hartman. He's not in many films. Best fashion item is definitely the Amigos outfits. I don't know. That's what I was going to say. But when I was counting the Amigos earlier on, that's it made it hard for me to count the Amigos. At the beginning, I was like, right, I'll count the Amigos, which was my thing. But then every scene, like Chris mentioned, is clearly the actual Amigos in their proper outfits. So I was like, well, they could have run from one side to the other, so that might still be them. So that, and then the next scene, well, they couldn't have got up there, but that was quite clearly Chevy Chase on that roof over there. Yep. So when I was counting it was annoying. And then you see at the end, it's just these fake outfits. It isn't anything like it. I was like, well, I don't know what to count now. And luckily, everyone came out at the end. It's all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I spent that. I was pausing and rewinding. Like, so he was up there, and then they could have come out that door and ran across the courtyard. But then, the whole town's just there. That'll do. That's easy enough. But yeah, the outfit is perfect. I like how each of them are different as well.
I never noticed that until they started doing the chopping and changing.
Yeah, they have the unique logos on all of them. It's really good. I don't have any other nominations. I've already mentioned the Swordsman. The best line was definitely the male plane line. God, that made me laugh. So best bell end, El Guapo. I think he's definitely a good villain. Is El Guapo. I don't have the actor's name, unfortunately. I think he is just El Guapo to me. He's really good. And then the worst plan is an age-old worst plan, which is we've captured Lucky Day, and El Guapo says, I'm going to kill him. So immediately, let's lock him up, tie him down, leave his means for escape here, and then just leave, and he can just escape on his own. And it's like, why did people do this? He wanted to kill him. Just shoot him. You had about 50 people with guns right there. You could have killed him, but instead, you lock him up and leave him to just escape. So yeah, has to be worst plan. I don't have anything else jumping out. There's probably a best song in there somewhere. I don't know if it's My Little Buttercup or not, but Chris reacted to that. So on you go, Chris.
Yeah, the only one I forgot to put more in actually, but my best plan is the end ruse that the Amigos in the town did to trick everybody, because it worked.
It's successful, yeah. Graded on successful, it definitely works.
As for best song, despite the fact that there's all the weird animals, I'll say, what's it called? Blue Shadow?
Blue Shadow, yeah, On the Trail or something like that. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly.
I'll go for that one. That was a good song. I would say that my best performance was Martin Shaw. I thought he was the best thing in the film.
Somewhere in there we've got Steve Martin. So yeah, I feel like he bonded with Ned Nederlander in this film.
I thought he was great. I'm going to go back just to watch that male plane joke again.
Yeah. Did you enjoy Ned getting the girl at the end as well? That was randomly.
Oh yeah, like she came out of nowhere. Yeah. I just thought like he had shown no interest in any women, and out of nowhere he just finds his bombshell.
Yeah, the other two are like. But yeah, a good ending. Not much in the way of nominees then, so we better move on to point 9, the moral of the story. What was the lesson we were supposed to learn from the Three Amigos? Chris, what have you got as the moral of the story?
Stop eating bats.
That's why you're belling.
It made him go batshit crazy. I'm imagining that must be where it comes from. So, is that yours to the letter, Andy?
Yes.
Right. I've gone route 1 with mine. Just make sure you know what you're signing up for, I think, is definitely the moral of the story. I think. Okay. Point 10 on the 10-point podcast is our 10-point rating, where we rate the movie out of 10. I picked, so I'll go first. I've got the first half hour is perfect. Like, I would not change a single thing about the first half hour of this film. Probably up the next half hour has its moments, so probably peaks or probably stops around the time they work out they're not acting anymore. The scene with El Guapo in them and all that, and then the final half hour is just, it's a different film. It's a very average, maybe below average Western film where they save the day and they win. But that first half hour, like, it's a 10 out of 10 for 30 minutes for me, so it could have skews the scale slightly. I've loved this film forever. I think there are definitely references in the film that I still unintentionally make on a weekly basis, little things I say. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 because I love the Three Amigos, despite not particularly liking it. I love it. I've got Andy's next because I believe he'd seen it before. So Andy, you're next.
So I'm kind of the same as you. I liked it as a kid. However, I've not watched this in ages, and oh my god, it's aged badly. Considering seeing like everything good that Steve Martin and Chevy Chase have done in their career, and like even John Landis is like, this is his worst thing he's ever done. So it just, like I said, it had 2 points deducted for bat eating for too long.
Of course, yeah.
It was 1, but then it carried on for like 10 seconds too long, so it lost 2 points.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a 2 out of 10.
2? So it would have been a 4 if there was no bats. My god.
Correct.
Coronavirus changed everything. Right, Chris, having never seen it before, first time viewer, Three Amigos score.
But Ned's the scene stealer for me. Like, without him, this film would be utter crap. But he makes a 4 for me.
A 4.
There's a lot of good stuff that goes on. It gets a little bit weird, and then again at the end, it's a bit.
If they just kept for half an hour, it would have been right up there. Just kept that comedy going, but it let itself down.
Yeah,
I don't know. It would have been hard for them to string out them not knowing what was going on long enough for them to be effective, and
still do that, but still have the stupid comedy like the horse switching and stuff like that. Just the funny.
Yeah, I think the only way you could do it would be if Carmen then started to kind of manipulate things, like she put real bullets in their gun, so they still think everyone is still acting around about them, but they're actually shooting them dead.
Yeah, because there is a scene that she knocks out the guard for Dusty because he's like scared to do it, and she does it. So yeah, it would make sense that she fiddled it.
Yeah, so the movie was drafted the script where like her and the rest of the townsfolk kind of manipulate the three heroes to save the day, maybe. But yeah, so the official rating is a 4. It gets a 4 out of 10. Not the best, but far from the worst, I would say, that we'll ever watch. And then my theme has already been discovered. It was trios in trouble, which was going to peak with this because the trio of the Three Amigos find themselves well and truly in trouble. We've only got 1 episode to go of the season. The season finale has crept up on us out of nowhere, and it is Andy's honour, the first time he's ever closed the season off. So Andy, what are we finishing the season on? And let us know if it is continuing your theme, because there was a bit of doubt about that.
Oh yeah, I just realised that because Van Damme's not in Expendables, so it would be Expendables 2, your theme.
Well, no, it's just Expendables. The universe is my theme. But anyway, still, I had so many options. It's like I could have carried it on. I couldn't have carried it on. But we needed a Christmas film.
I did think of that. Yeah.
But all the way up, and nobody's picked a Christmas film. And last year, Chris picked Office Christmas Party, which was a Christmas film.
It wasn't that bad.
That's how we ended on. So I've decided to up the game and end on the ultimate Office Christmas Party. Die Hard.
Yeah.
It carried on the Expendables theme. It's a proper Christmas banger. And it's
You've
from the
opened up the worms. Is it a Christmas film? Is it not?
Actually a Christmas film.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a Christmas film.
The debate's over now. Awesome. Well, there we go. I can't think of a better way to finish than that. So it's a great selection, Andy. I've already watched a documentary on it recently, so I can watch the film with extra knowledge going into it as well. Probably not watched it in a while, actually. But there we are. It is the season, so you all have 1 week. I'm sure it's around somewhere. It must be readily available in December. Come back to us next time after watching Die Hard for the 10 Point Podcast.